Hello everybody, it's Corey and we're back here with another starter deck upgrade video. Today we are doing the Draginked Dragons. Now, if you recall, when I opened this starter deck on camera, this was probably the deck I was the most negative towards. Art style wise, best, second best. But my opinion of them was pretty low because while they have some individually strong cards, it was a mill theme overall. And from all my experience in card games, mill is normally like tier 3 at best. Maybe a tier 2 one cracks in every now and again. But something I hadn't accounted for was playing more of the game. And the matchups are really interesting here, right? So the other decks, you've got Plagueis, Cane Pirates, and Micromon. And Plagueis self-mills quite a bit. Their burn mechanic, their deck is very low by the end of the game, whether or not you've played a mill card against them or not. So they match up terribly. You can easily mill their whole deck out with these guys. Cane Pirates have a ton of draw power. So they also, if they get too greedy, make themselves susceptible to being milled. So again, you have a pretty good matchup there. And also, Cane Pirates are kind of more like tricky with their strategies and ability cards, as opposed to having like individually strong characters. And this deck actually has pretty strong characters, so you sort of have a favorable matchup that way too. Micromon are probably the best suited against them because they draw a little bit. They have pretty individually strong characters, so I would say like that's probably the hardest matchup here. But well, asterisks against Cane Pirate. Plagueis is the easiest matchup though for these guys. But anyway, I didn't end up breaking it out into piles or anything like I did with the most previous video because I think I'm just gonna flip through it all in one stack if I can. Oh, okay, I gotta rest my arm kind of down here, but let me tighten it up, clean that off a little bit. I've played with all the sleeves these cards are in, so sadly there's gonna be some scuffs. Alright, but oh wait, this is kind of hard. Okay, you know what? We'll just grab them. So we run 3 copies of Richie. Richie is just the strongest 0-drop in terms of stats, combat anyway. And I guess I'll address this now. The monster on the box here, not the super rare included. This is like a random 3-drop guy, or 2-drop even. He's pretty cool and everything, but he's not the boss monster included in here. Richie, is the untransformed version of that boss monster, and thus he's pretty critical to making the whole deck run. And I guess I should talk about the transformation mechanic since I'm mentioning it, so let me go find. There's one more of them. Yep, there. Woo. These guys. Alright, so you've got Raikiri, right? And see how he says Transformation Richie? So I think I've explained this in a few other videos, but the way transformation works is if you have the named character or one of the named characters here in play already, if you could pay these costs, or if you meet the turn cost and you pay the hand, actually, oh man, I'm not 100% sure if you have to pay the hand cost on transformation or not. Think you do. I'm pretty sure you do, but not many of them have it. Anyway, moving on. If I already have Richie in play, he's chilling out, and this is in my hand, I can just slap him right on top, and what happens is this remains attached to him, and I guess if this goes somewhere, this just gets discarded. I don't think that's clear yet, but this comes into play healthy. I'm pretty sure you wipe like everything off of. No. You don't wipe anything off of it. In fact, you just slap him right into play. Keeps everything that was attached to Richie attached to him. I think coins and everything, strategies, all that stays attached. But what you're doing here, this doesn't count as your deployment for the turn. So it's a free play. So these Draginked guys have a really big power spike on turn 3 because there's tons of them that have their transform on turn 3. So anyway, this is the boss monster I was talking about. Gorgeous card. One of the best looking cards in the game. Richie's pretty cool too. So we'll put them aside. I'll also just set these aside for now. Back to the 0 drops here. Do everything in order. So we have Kamiko. This card's just very good. Put in play, discard a card. If you do, search your deck for a Draginked character with a turn cost of 0 or less and move it to your hand. So herself, Richie, or the next one, who I will say this one is the worst by far of all these. I wouldn't even particularly run her if it wasn't for the fact that I think she's the untransformed Balthazar, this guy. And this dude's pretty good, so you kind of have to run her. Her effect is okay because, like I mentioned in the previous video, ability cards are kind of whatever in this game, so just turning them into another card is pretty cool. So that's Sophie. Pause, read her effect. But those are the 3 people Kamiko can search up. And I want to point out that you can safely discard Richie's to her effect, or safely discard Richie whenever, because... Oh, I'm sorry. Other way around. You can safely discard Raikiri's whenever, because this card can be put into play by transformation from the discard pile. So as long as you have Richie's around, this dude can just keep coming back. So anyway, those were the 0 drops and 1 3 drop. Woo! Okay, now we're in the meat of the deck. Okay, this is the best card in the deck. Strange, I know, the 1 drop, really? But yeah. Non-valid effect up here. Oddly enough, this is also a non-valid effect, even though get into it. So this chick's really important. She's like the meat of your mill engine. So during either player's strategy phase, you can pay 2 plasma, put a zap counter on one of your opponent's characters with a turn cost of 2 or less. And then she has another ability, passive. Characters with zap counters gain the following effect. Valid at the start of your strategy phase, mill 2. So, that's it. Now, notice stacking zap counters on the same character doesn't do anything. So, like, at best, you can put one on a 0, a 1, a 2, or if they play multiple, actually, what am I saying? There's no at best. But, yeah, there's no point in putting more than 1 counter on the same person. I don't believe... Well, never mind, that's irrelevant. This game has legendary rules, so you couldn't have more than 1 Nadia in play anyhow. But I was going to say, I don't think the effect stacks. And if she's injured, she loses both of these. And they would lose this because this effect itself isn't valid. It's just the effect it lends out to the people with zap counters is valid. So, like, play Nadia, keep her safe. She is your main mill. She can get a lot of passive mill going, so don't lose her. The next one is also really important. Petunia. When your opponent burns any cards, mill, burn. If they burn at least 1 non-character, move the top card of their deck to their discard. So that additional move the top card of their deck won't loop itself because this specifically calls out when they burn cards. But she basically... most decks are like 40% strategy and ability. So 4 out of 10 times when they mill, she's snagging an extra card. 4 out of 10, that's 2 out of 5. 2 out of 5 times that they mill a card, she's hitting another one for you. Also pretty good stats. And both of these... Actually, I don't think Nadia has a transformation. Oh, that was the other part I forgot to mention about transformation. So when you transform, like I said, you stay over top of the... guy that was in play. He doesn't matter you're healthy or injured, but this stays in play over top of him. So they lose their name, they lose their characteristics, but they maintain any abilities they had. Like, tack that right onto this guy. Their stats are irrelevant too. irrelevant. Sorry. Bad example because Richie's vanilla. But, so I don't think I run Nadia's transformation. I don't even think it came in the starter deck, and like this series is limited to just starter deck only cards. I could be talking up my butt here, but I'm pretty sure she doesn't have one. Even if she did, it wouldn't be harmful to transform over her. But anyway, moving on, that's the 1-drops. Hey, it's the guy on the face of the box. So, the reason there's a lot of 3-ofs going on right now is because, again, the limit of only starter deck cards just didn't have particularly many options to choose from. But Balthazar's cool, so that's a 2. Attacker strategy, pay 2. If this character was put in play by transformation, which is a line you'll see a lot, they only have an ability if they were put in play by transformation. So you gotta run Sophie, because that's his. But look at the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck. Discard 1 and return the rest in any order. Oh my god. This is disgusting. This is like, if you can pay that every turn, you just control your opponent's game for the rest of the game. Not completely doable all the time, because 2 is a pretty fair cost, I think, but very strong. Halil is, if he's put in play by transformation, discard a character card. If you do, search your deck for a dragon with a turn count 3 or less and move it to your hand. Great. And he TFs over Kimiko. Cool. He's really good. I love this card. This is my favorite card in the deck, other than maybe Nadia. Hoshiko. Once per turn, when your opponent mills any cards, draw a card. This is crushing value. Once you've got Nadia and her going, just disgusting. You're drawing way too many cards. It's only once per turn, but it's once per turn when your opponent... Yeah, once per your turn and once per your opponent's turn. So this is like 2 extra cards per turn cycle. Oh my gosh. She's so good. Okay. Now we're on to the 4-drops. Just 2 of these. Astrophanes. He actually TFs over Hoshiko, the girl we were just looking at. If he was put in play by transformation, target opposing character becomes a standby for 2 lightning, valid attacker ability. So it's only on attacks. Oh, camouflage. That's ambush. You can put him in play from your energy pile. I don't even think I've noticed that about him previously. I wonder if there were any other ambushers in here that I just completely overlooked. I don't know. And finally, the 5-drops, we have Centurion, who evolves over that Petunia girl, the 1-drop. This guy, on the other hand, it's just kind of a beat stick, because I don't think I've TF'd him too many times, although he is good when he attacks. If he was put in play by transformation, your opponent burns 1 card. If that card is not a character card, they burn 2 more cards. And then he's over top of Petunia, which means he's triggered, yeah, lots of triggers there. But stats, 5/5, oh my good lord, 5 support. This thing is so good, and it's both the colors of the deck. I don't think I've said that yet, fire and plasma. So, just a great 3 of. Alright, man, I'm taking my time on this one. Okay. Gonna go faster. Draginked duality. I will explain this really quick. 1/1 over here. If you have a Draginked character in play, you can search your deck for a dragon that names that card in its transformation requirements. Add it to your hand, blah, blah, blah. Otherwise, you just search your deck for any Draginked character and move it to your hand. Oh, you know what? The first part is you can search your deck. So actually, you can always just search for any Draginked character. This is just search any Draginked character. And then if you have a Draginked character in play, search their dragon counterpart. Crazy good card. Okay, this card's also pretty good. The top line of text is if your opponent has 25 or more cards in their discard, you can play this card from your discard. And I'll spoil it now. If you do, it's going to get exiled afterwards, so you can't loop that forever. But, ETB, opponent burns 2, then you draw 2 and discard a card. Fine and fair. Yummy. This card's pretty good to crushing draw value, so exile 3 dragon cards in your deck, then draw 3 cards. That's all I gotta say about that. That's just turn 3, draw 3, okay. Into the abilities real quick. Draginked Charge is just a buff card, just gives you an indeterminate amount of stats. I would probably cut this if there were other ability cards you could play in here. This is just negation. I love this one. Fantastic. And the reason that you're not running Micromon Shield in this deck is because this card's in here and it's just much better. And then Dragon Breath. Very good. Probably the only good ability in here. Well, negations, whatever. This one's pretty solid. But it can have times where there's just nothing good to hit. But anyway, I am rambling on. I went on very long this time. But I enjoyed this deck a lot. I'm happy I was wrong about it. It actually is my most favorite of the 4 of these to play. But yeah, so now you know the last video is going to be Cane Pirates. And I certainly saved the best for last. I will see you soon.